and the name of your media and before making your questions. And we start with the Finnish media.
I'm Maria Gestrin Hagne from Hufvudstadsbladet. The details of the security guarantees offered by the United States have not been made public. Do you know exactly what guarantees the United States is prepared to offer Ukraine? And what concrete security arrangements is your country prepared to give Ukraine?
Maybe Prime Minister of Sweden and Poland can start because they participated yesterday in negotiations in Berlin.
I can start saying that obviously nothing is decided until things are formalized in written, of course, and nobody claimed that yesterday. But what became evident yesterday was definitely an increased willingness, a very clear willingness from the US to also take part of these security guarantees. And they were quite explicit, orderly on that. And I think that brings us back in a good sense to the discussions we had a few months ago in the Coalition of the Willing, where we stated that Ukrainian armed forces is the first and perhaps most important level of security guarantees, and to equip them, to train them, to keep them ready, basically, without any limitations on the Ukrainian armed forces. And the second one is, of course, the coalition of the willing countries being able to deploy different resources in or around Ukraine, helping them with capabilities they perhaps cannot provide for themselves with an American backstop. So this is a chain, and the precondition for making individual country decisions on what we as individual countries can provide is also based on the American backstop. So in that sense, on that specific topic, we came a few steps further, I would say.
I think it's too early to say something very concrete about possible American guarantees. It sounded very promising compared to the previous declarations that the Americans are ready to give tough guarantees, but it would be an exaggeration if I say that we know everything about the concrete details. But the progress is, and Ulf, I think you can agree with me, was pretty tangible. I mean, we are a little bit more optimistic here. When it comes to my country, as you know, Poland is responsible for the whole logistic when it comes today, not only, I'm not talking about tomorrow, but also about today, our duties, I mean the logistic hubs close to Rzeszów, airports, but everyone knows that we are focused mainly on the topic we have discussed already today, how to protect our borders against possible Russian aggression. And it is absolutely understandable also for our Ukrainian friends that Poland should be active and efficient on the eastern borders and when it comes to logistics.
Maybe I can add that even if the United States is the only one negotiating with Russia, at this moment and last week and month we have done good cooperation with US, European countries and Ukraine. I think we are very well informed, and we have prepared some details. It's clear that there cannot be any negotiations on issues which are European issues or issues in NATO without European or NATO countries. So I'm quite satisfied about the process at this moment, but we have to continue to work together. Yesterday we saw when Ukraine, the US and European countries work together. When we work together, we are stronger, and we have to continue that.
I think the most credible and strongest deterrent against possible aggression in the future would be Article 5 kind or like guarantee. As I understand, the United States is putting this idea on the table. So far, it's not clear how it will, what will be the response of Russian Federation. But my country is, of course, committed to contribute to Ukraine's military and economic force with 0.25% GDP contribution. And there's no need to put it into the law because there's strong political commitment among all the major parties in Lithuania that it should be done, and at least 0.25 or even more. It's very important that we should understand that Ukraine is the first line of our defense. Eastern flank is second defense line, but right now the war is going on in Ukraine and we have to support Ukraine by all means.
I would like to add from Estonian side that the information received from yesterday's negotiations, Ulf and Donald already mentioned that it's not customary to be optimistic under these situations, but it's a little bit more optimistic than yesterday because there are still talks about US backstop in this process, which is quite important for peace to come, just and lasting peace. But for the security guarantees, it's probably understandable that it needs to have strong Ukrainian army, which is the first line of defense. Second one is the coalition of willing, in which Estonia has said that we were participating with company-sized unit, and also US backstop. And it needs political commitment and also commitment in planning and military capabilities. So this probably is a robust security guarantee, but as already said, that we still are on the way, not there. Thank you.
And if you allow me, nevertheless, that the shape of the security guarantees is still blurry. It looks like we are more aligned than before. On the first hand, it's building the resilience to provide with Article 5-like protection, to strengthen maintaining the Ukrainian defense capabilities, and of course the European future for Ukraine.
I just want to add that Ukraine can always rely on Latvia's support, whatever the need will be, because we are committed to support Ukraine military with financial aid. We have the same commitment, all the same in Baltic states, giving them 0.25% of our GDP. It usually goes even more. And we have been working on coalition of willing for quite a long time. What should those security guarantees look like? But now it's very important that US are on the same page with Ukraine, and it seems like we are on those negotiations as far as it can be possible ever before. So those are good news.
So the guarantees for Ukraine are the result of work have been done in the coalition of willing, around 1 year work. There are public and non-public things inside, and it's a very good thing that the United States is inside that box of guarantees.
Okay, thank you. Let's take the next question. That goes for the Polish media.
Good afternoon. I'm Jan Piotrowski, TVN24 of Poland. And my question to Prime Minister Tusk and Prime Minister Orpo, because as you've mentioned, Finland and Poland are about to take leading roles in the Eastern flank format. Could you please give us some more details on this leadership? Will it mean leading in diplomatical efforts or some kind of a financial or technological or maybe industrial commitment? Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question. Now we have decided in the European Union that we have this eastern flank, that we see together that eastern flank is so crucial when we want to defend Europe and strengthen our common defense. That's why we have those flagship projects, and this eastern flank watch is one of them. And now we have decided to work together to create concrete measures, what it means. We have started to do the plans. We do it very carefully between militaries, ministries of defense, and also together with the European Commission, but in very good coordination with NATO. And if we think what Eastern Flank Watch and strengthening Eastern Flank, what it means, for me it means air defense, drone capabilities, land forces, and very good cooperation. But from European Union, we of course need support, financial support. In current MFF, we still have about 1.5 billion euros left, and hopefully we can have part of that to this flagship project. But in future MFF, there will be much more funding to defense, and of course, it is also our target.
Yeah, it's in fact our cooperation with Finland and other countries from the region. It's nothing new, as I said just 1 hour ago. I think this is one of the most solid and responsible political format, not only in Europe. We have common threats, we have common chances, we have common projects, we have borders with very challenging neighborhood countries, and we understand each other really, really, I think, perfect, I can say. And no conflicts of interest when it comes to international affairs. It means that it's pretty easy for all of us to cooperate on, not only on our level. I mean, we decided that we would work on also lower levels. I mean, our ministers, defense ministers, advisors, etc. It will be a permanent work. And of course, one of the goals is how to use effectively European funds and European money. It's obvious. And for this, you need also political pressure, some tough and united argumentation in Europe. But as I said, finally, I think the understanding of the needs here in this part of the world is quite common now in Europe. We are very pragmatic, and I am absolutely sure that for our security, not only for my country, for all of us, this format and our common work is absolutely crucial, and it can be a role model for other countries. And as I said, we are ready to do everything, not only for our security, but for Europe, and it must be obvious for all of our partners.
Thank you. And the next question has been agreed between Estonian and Swedish journalists.
Right. Hi. Felicia Hassan from Swedish Radio. And there's been a lot of talk about the frozen Russian assets the past few days and using them in Ukraine, and that's great, of course. But at the same time, the Russian shadow fleet is passing literally in front of our eyes in the Baltic Sea every day. Is there anything that you can do more to stop the shadow fleet? Since we know that the shadow fleet is a big part of financing the war in Ukraine as well, and the sanctions hasn't yet had any effect on the amount of ships in the Baltic Sea. So this is a question for the Baltic Sea countries, of course. Yeah.
Starting.
Would you like to start?
Yeah, okay. It is good to start because we have been probably one of the most active countries of tackling the shadow fleet, and your question is absolutely right, because I would say it's a crude estimate, but a little bit less than a half of Putin's war chest comes from shadow fleet ships. And as you know, Estonia is actively escorting those ships, asking for documentation, sometimes detaining us to other countries and so on. But if the question is, can we do more, then the answer is yes. On European Union level, we have been discussing that. European Union has a strong influence on trade policies, visa policies, and so on, of denial of services to those who are giving the flags, for example, to shadow fleet ships. And shadow fleet is not only money train running through our waters. It's also like a ticking environmental bomb waiting to happen, because if something happens with those ships, then probably it's a question of wind direction, who will have to mop it up from the sea. So it's a big problem still ticking there. So short answer is yes, we can do more, and we will do more, because as I can see in the European Union, not only the Baltic Sea countries, but for example France and many countries are engaging more actively with Shadow Fleet. So yes, thank you.
Well, basically, I agree with the implied kind of consequences in your question. But the answer is yes, we are doing increasingly more, I would say. And every new sanction package also includes new vessels. I think we are extremely active in defining these on an individual vessel base and then include them in that. And I also very much appreciate the French and other countries' increasing willingness to take part of this. This is not only our problem, basically, because it finances so much of the Russian war efforts. So more is to do, and we are doing more. But nevertheless, even more is to do.
Yeah, I just can agree with my colleagues. What was said before, like imagine 2 years ago, we even didn't spoke about Shadow Fleet. Then we chanced them. Then we seized them. Then we had many sanctions which are going forward with next and next ships. Then we decided legally how we can prevent that more and more personnel want to do actually something on those ships. So we went even legally much deeper how we can prevent that there will be crew members who will participate, so going against and for those captains on those ships. So we have done a lot, but sure, we always are running a race. And for now, the race is still ongoing, but there has been done a lot, but sure, always there could be something more. And that our friends from southern countries of Europe are participating, it's very, very important, because it's not just the issue of Baltic Sea.
Maybe shortly, Russian Shadow Fleet is a real problem. It's pumping money to the Putin's war machine every day. And it's also huge environmental risk, especially at winter time. We are very worried. We have done many measures, like colleagues just mentioned, but also we have risen our awareness, and from single Baltic countries together, but also from NATO, and we have also shown that we react. We can react, and maybe the last point is the same than from colleagues, is that we need to do more. From EU side, more sanctions against terror fleet, but more cooperation with other countries, because many of those ships are sailing under flags of quite normal countries. So there is so much to do, but we can do more.
A lot has been said, and I would also stress the importance of inclusion of these vessels into the sanctions list, also impose the sanctions on the third countries. And I would like to mention that the Baltic Sentry mission was very successful, not so much probably not on the traffic of these vessels in the Baltic Sea, but first of all, looking from the standpoint of the damages of the critical infrastructure. So I think it was so successful mission that recently the so-called Eastern Sentry mission was initiated, which will be dedicated to the incursions of airspace.
In fact, as you remember, our cooperation, this very close cooperation in this or very similar format, started because of Shadow Fleet. I still remember our first meeting in Stockholm, and yeah, it's obvious that it's the problem for us, to solve. Obviously, it's not only about dirty business and financing the method of financing the Russian aggression. It's also a direct threat for us, because we have some signals that some drones which are prepared for some provocation, for example, against Polish oil platform on the Baltic Sea, they started from the Shadow Fleet's ships, vessels. It means that we have to be prepared also for some tough measures. I'm absolutely sure that it's a high time to think about, if needed, direct actions against them.
And the next question goes to Romanian and Latvian journalists. Please.
Thanks a lot. Good afternoon. I'm Lucian Pervoiu from Romanian Television. My question is addressed to President Nicu Șordan, Latvian Prime Minister, and other leaders who might want to answer it because it's a common topic. Europe is challenged by diverse actions conducted by Russian proxies, from sabotage actions to illegal drones incursions in our airspace. How do you intend to cooperate in order to counteract them more efficiently in the near future, President?
Yeah. Very large range of questions. First of all, we have an regarding the hybrid and disinformation question we had right here in Helsinki, an European center. So we have to cooperate more. And fortunately for Romania, for this kind of sabotage thing, we are not very affected. But we had some, by the Romanian officials, we had some few attacks, but we are in close cooperation with the European structure and with our partners. And regarding the disinformation, I think here is the most effective attack towards our democracies, and you have seen in Romania. And here on the technological side, I think we have to do more, all of us, and of course us.
If we speak about hybrid threats and those sabotage, we know the techniques of what usually FSB is doing, how they are getting to those people who actually are executing those sabotage acts. It's not like in old movies when spies were involved in those actions. Usually those are different kind of people who never have seen Russian organizers. And unfortunately, they are trying to make a lot of problems for our railways, for our electricity and so on. But we have been quite successful of detaining them and even having criminal cases against them in court. So we're sharing this information with all of our colleagues, our intelligence services and other ministries of interior working together. We speak about drones. Since Latvia unfortunately had this bad experience almost 2 years ago, we have bought a sound system and new sensors which can sense drones flying over our borders, and we are working together with Ukrainians. They have a good library of sounds which can detect the drones. And now, as Latvia is one of the leading countries together with Croatia and Netherlands in Europe's drone wall execution or implementation, we are open to share those practices. And I think there is much what can be done to prevent ourselves from drones. But still, we need to find the tools how we can take down those drones if they're attacking us. So those are our challenges. That's why we are here. That's why we have so much to do together in close coordination. But we are really open to share what we have learned from our not so good experiences, because we know what does it mean to live next to Russia and Belarus. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is a question of preparedness, and we used to say in Finland that we are not afraid, we are prepared. And we are very proud of our preparedness, our comprehensive security model, so-called whole of society perspective. We have prepared ourselves against all kinds of threats, hybrid threats, different kind of hybrid threats, environmental threats, pandemic, etc. And we are working very closely with our friends, with our allies, but also with the European Union. European Union want to be preparedness union, and our former president, Sauli Niinistö, made a report to the Commission, to the European Union last spring, and it was very good, and based on that report, now we are building preparedness union. But this is very important to be well prepared, this whole of society perspective.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. I think we are running out of time, so we have to close the press conference. Finnish Prime Minister will stay here and answer into the Finnish media questions, and I know that quite many other Prime Ministers are going to be giving their own interviews. So thank you very much, everyone, and have a very nice afternoon. Thank you.
We stand behind the